Chicken bacon ranch sliders are one of the most delicious little sandwiches that I've had in so long. And they're super easy to make and absolutely terrific for entertaining. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today we're gonna make chicken bacon ranch sliders. Oh my gosh. I tried this recipe the other day, made a few tweaks to it, and came out with the most amazing filling for a sandwich, okay? Or a lettuce wrap, or a dip, or anything else you want to do with it. My husband ate it with a fork and thought it was absolutely amazing. It is that good, and it is super easy to make. You can use your pressure cooker like I'm gonna do. It makes it really quick and easy. You can also do it on the stove. You could do it in your slow cooker. There's a ton of ways to cook the filling for your sliders. I will have all that information in the written post on thesaltedpepper.com. But for this video, I'm gonna use my pressure cooker because it's just so easy. So first thing we wanna do is get in some liquid. Now, this is gonna cause a few people to raise their eyebrows, and I totally understand it. So let me explain the thought process behind it. A lot of people have been told that you need 1 cup of liquid to pressure cook, okay? And in some instances, that is true. I'm only using a 1/4 cup. That is like hardly any liquid, right? And you would be concerned, I might get the water notice. Now, I will say, this is the 6.5 quart. If you're using a 6.5 quart or smaller pressure cooker, stick with the 1/4 cup. If you're using an 8 quart, add 2 more tablespoons to it, okay? Just to adjust for the size so that you have enough time for the chicken to start cooking and release its juices, because that's what happens. At the end, we don't want a soupy filling for our sandwiches. We want something that is like ready to just shred the chicken in there and pull it out and put it on your sandwiches. And in order to get that, we use very minimal liquid because the chicken's gonna give off liquid, the raw bacon's gonna give off some liquid, and we want to not have it too soupy. So 1/4 cup in 6.5 quart pressure cooker or smaller, and a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons if you're using a larger size, okay? Then I have 3 large chicken breasts. I didn't even trim them up. I didn't worry about it. You absolutely can, but we go under pressure long enough for these to be shreddable, and everything just sort of dissolves and melts away, so you don't even have to worry about any prep on your chicken. This is about 2.5 pounds of chicken. You can use this recipe with 2.5 pounds to 3 pounds of chicken breast, or you can cut it in half, but you will still need to use the 1/4 cup of liquid. So your seasonings are going to be off a little bit. I recommend sticking with this recipe the way it's written for the best results, and then freezing any leftovers. All right, get the chicken in the bottom here. 1 piece of thick cut bacon. I'm using Applewood smoked. You could use whatever type of bacon you like. If you like thin slice, or that's what you have at home, you can do that. Just put in 2 or 3 of them. It'll be perfectly fine. Before I get into the ingredients that are in this bowl, let me talk about the one ingredient that you may not have in your pantry, and that is dried buttermilk. It's easily purchased though at like places like Walmart. At least my Walmart has them. You can get it online. It's relatively inexpensive, and it does add a little something special to this recipe, but it is optional, okay? So you can certainly make it without it. It's no problem at all. I put in 2 tablespoons into my seasoning blend. So let me just get those out here. And then the rest of the seasoning blend. 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of dill weed, 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. This is a basic dry ranch dressing mix. So I know you're gonna say, well, can I just use the packet? Yes, you can. It will change the flavor just a little bit because in the packets, it's a little bit more pungent, I would say, a little bit tangier. So it might change the flavor a little bit, but you absolutely can. The thing that I will say though is if you're a ranch fan, grab these ingredients and mix it up because it is so much more economical to do it this way than it is to buy those little packets. So now we take our dry seasoning and just sprinkle it over all the chicken. Try to get it on top of the chicken more than you get it down in the pot because we don't have a lot of liquid to start off with. We don't want this powdered spices to combine with the water and thicken too quickly. So try to get it on top of the chicken breast more than anything else. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is add in some butter. Don't cringe, this makes a lot, okay? This is great for a celebration. We use a whole stick of butter. You can try to cut it down to a half of a stick if you don't want the full stick of butter in there, but it does help with the liquid amounts, okay, as it starts to cook. So it keeps the pot under pressure and keeps you from getting the water notice as it melts and becomes liquid form. You want it cold right out of the refrigerator and just pop it right on top, okay? You can also make this recipe with frozen chicken breasts. You're just going to want to increase your time to about 25 to 30 minutes of pressure cook time. For this, these are thawed. We are going to go on 20 minutes of pressure cook time. So I have to turn my slider, make sure my valve in the back is to the sealed position. High pressure is what we want. And I'm gonna go up to 20 minutes and hit start. It's gonna take somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes almost to come under pressure, okay? And that is because we have such little liquid. It has a little bit of a hard time building the steam until the chicken starts to cook enough to release its liquid. The other thing you're gonna see that is kind of magical is the chicken actually gets brown, okay? It doesn't stay really pale white. It gets brown, and that means more flavor in your chicken. Let me tell you, this dish is amazingly delicious. It's probably one of the best recipes I've made in quite a long time. All right, so after your 20-minute pressure cook time is up, allow the pot to fully natural release. That is really important because we don't want to dry out the chicken. We want it to be really, really tender. Then release any remaining steam that's in the pot. And we'll open up the lid. It's gonna look really terrible. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat. Don't worry, it gets delicious looking in just a minute. All right, like I said, it doesn't look like much. And look at all that liquid we have from the butter and the juices of the chicken. One of the things that was so amazing to me, though, is the way the bottom, look at all that browning that we get. Oh my gosh, so it's amazing. And did you see how easily it just came apart? That's what we want. Just take your tongs in and just go through the chicken until it starts to shred. This looks so amazing already. Now, one thing I wanted to say, because I think after you make it, if you're gonna have a party, a gathering with a lot of people, you're like, I want to double this. Easily double it, but don't worry about doubling any of the ingredients except for the chicken and the seasonings, okay? You don't need to double the liquid and you don't need to double the butter. You could put in another half a stick of butter. I mean, you know, that won't hurt anything, but I wouldn't double it. We've got plenty of liquid here. The bacon, it's up to you. If you want to take it out, you can take it out. I usually don't worry about it because it just shreds up and nobody notices that there's bacon in there. It's fully cooked anyway, but so now just keep doing that until you have your chicken nicely shredded. One of the beauties about this dish is that you can make it up and then leave it in the juices with the other ingredients just on keep warm until you're ready to serve it. So it's really, really easy for a crowd. Or you could transfer it, like if you wanted to finish it up here in your pressure cooker, but you wanted to take it and you didn't want to take the inner pot, you could transfer it to a casserole dish and then put the toppings on that I'll show you and just put some foil or a cover over it and take it to your party. All right, once your chicken is completely shredded up the way you like it, then we're gonna add in about 5 to 6 slices or more, it doesn't matter, of bacon that's already cooked and then crumbled up. Now, if you didn't want to cook the bacon, you could certainly use bacon bits, but I recommend cooking up the bacon nice and crisp. And if you have this model of Ninja Foodie, I have a recipe for steam and crisp bacon that I will link to at the end of this video that will blow your mind. It's amazing. That's what this is. I'm gonna put just about 3/4 of it in. This is a total of 6 slices. You can put it all in now if you want it, but I'll show you why I leave a little bit out. Same thing with green onions. This is one bunch of green onions. You do not need to measure or be worried about it. You could even omit them if you wanted. And I put about 3/4 of them in right now and leave a little bit for the top. 1 cup of sour cream, and that's a healthy cup of sour cream. Put that in. Now, some people might ask if they can put in cream cheese. You can if you want that flavor. It's a little bit different. It would be delicious though, but I like the sour cream flavor. I think that really plays with the buttermilk and all of the other seasonings that we have going on in there. And now simply mix it up. And for those of you that are on low carb, it's low carb, right? It is low carb. You just don't use the bun. And I'll show you what I would recommend putting it on. Oh my gosh, look at this. It is gorgeous. Now, you might think, oh, it's a little soupy for sandwiches. Don't worry about that, okay? When you lift up with your tongs, just squeeze a little bit if you're gonna serve it immediately. You want it juicy because you want this to be able to sit on keep warm for a while and not dry up. So that's how I made the recipe, and it's on purpose. So it's the perfect amount of liquid, okay? All right, now we gotta get our cheddar cheese on top, and I put this right on top. I don't mix it in, but you could if you wanted to. So just put it on top of either in the Ninja Foodie or in your casserole dish, because this would be the time before you put the cheese on top that you would transfer it to your serving dish that you wanted to serve it in. Then I also put some green onions on top, and usually what I do, I forgot to do it this time, is I mix the green onions and the bacon with the cheese and then put it on so that they're not all on top. So I'm just gonna go in with my hands. I gotta mix that up. Now I use 1.5 cups of shredded sharp cheddar. You could use whatever kind of cheese you wanted. You could add more cheese if you wanted, you know, totally up to you. Now, don't do anything. We're not cooking it now. Just close the lid and wait about 5 minutes for that cheese to melt. You don't want to necessarily put the crisping lid on. I mean, you could, but you don't want the cheese brown. You want it to just be melted in, because the idea is when you go in with your tongs or whatever serving utensil you're going to use, you dip into it, you get some of the cheese coming out with every bite. You don't want it hard on top, so you don't want to like broil it to golden brown. That's not going to be the best eating or serving experience for your guests or for yourself. All right, let's see if our cheese has melted enough, and it looks like it has. That is exactly what you want it to look like. You don't want it to be brown, okay? Trust me on that one. And now we just dig in. Oh my gosh, look at this. So let's go ahead and like make our slider. So you've got your guest and you've got your tongs and you've got your bun there, and then they put it onto their bun. Look at that, a little messy. Oh my gosh. Oh. It is so good. Seriously. This is one of the best recipes I've made in a long time. All right. Now, if you wanted to keep it low carb, put it on a lettuce leaf, any kind of lettuce you want. And then you can either cut it up like a salad, which is what I'm gonna do, or pick it up and eat it with your hands. Oh my gosh. Sort of a big bite in it. Oh my goodness. Now I've had it with the bun and I've had it without the bun. And I've had it with lettuce. So I've had it 3 ways, like just eating it with a fork and eating it with the lettuce and eating it with the bun. All of them are spectacularly good. I think my favorite though is eating it with the lettuce.